Kyle Crabbs, Brentley Weissman of the Draft Network, and we're here to talk about the NFL's only undefeated team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. More specifically, though, Brentley, we at the Draft Network were really interested in team building and roster decisions and personnel. And the Pittsburgh Steelers draft wide receivers better than anybody. But they also have a very complicated decision looming on the horizon because this is a team that doesn't have a lot of cap space available. They're going to have to pay out some big contracts. And one of the players who's facing an expiring contract is wide receiver JuJu Smith-Schuster. So you took a little bit of time and looked at Pittsburgh, their offense, JuJu's role in it. What did you see?
It's interesting. Me personally, I think JuJu Smith is a hell of a player. I'm a big fan of him coming out of USC. I thought what he did as a rookie and even in his second season was phenomenal. But this year, while I don't think JuJu Smith, has regressed in any certain manner in terms of his skill set, it has become quite clear to me that the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator, Randy Fishner, is no longer featuring JuJu Smith as a go-to guy in the offense. And what I mean by that, Kyle, is when you watch the Steelers, they make a legit effort to get the ball into the hands of Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool on design plays. For example, Deontay Johnson, you see him hit him on quick screens, on bubble routes. They get the ball in his hands early. Chase Claypool, they hand him the ball in end arounds on jet sweeps. They scheme up, deep shots to test the defense vertically. You don't see these design plays with JuJu Smith-Schuster, and I just really find it odd because when I look at all three in a vacuum, I think, while yes, Deontay Johnson might be a little more explosive than JuJu with the ball in his hands. Yes, Chase Claypool might be better, catching the ball down the field with his size and speed. But what JuJu Smith offers that they don't is just his reliability. The kid never gets hurt, rarely gets hurt. Don't say never, but he rarely gets hurt. He rarely drops passes, and he's tough as nails, and he's big and strong. I just really don't understand why they're not featuring him more in the offense.
Well, what's interesting is you think about the quintessential Pittsburgh Steeler football player and their brand of player. JuJu fits that mold to a T when you think about the toughness that he plays with, how successful he's been in run after the catch situations. And that's not an area where JuJu Smith-Schuster is having a lot of success this year. He's caught 45 passes for 439 yards. He's averaging less than 10 yards per reception this year. So he's operating in much closer vicinity to the line of scrimmage this year because he's not getting those down the field targets that go to Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. And for whatever reason, between that and the spacing that they have in Pittsburgh this year, and Ben Roethlisberger has one of the quickest triggers in the NFL this year as far as getting the ball out of his hands. So some of that may be designed at that capacity as well. He's not really shining in creating the big plays because those opportunities feel like they're going to younger, cheaper players. And when you're Pittsburgh and you still got to pay TJ Watt and you got Minkah Fitzpatrick that's playing on a rookie contract, and you've paid out some of your established defensive players, big contracts, Devin Bush playing on a rookie contract, as they get ready to retain so much of their core, and defensive identity has always been the core of the Pittsburgh Steelers, you look at the fact that they took Chase Claypool in the second round this year with their first pick, and you ask yourself, well, is JuJu Smith-Schuster part of the long-term solution here in Pittsburgh as they move forward?
No question. I do think that's what they're asking themselves. But in my opinion, the Steelers and where they're at right now, they can't afford to think, about his looming free agency when the Super Bowl's, potentially right in front of you.
Right.
You really have to, play and go into each week, not thinking, oh, we can't get the ball to JuJu because we don't want to raise his leverage or we don't want to put us in a bind. Now we'll have to pay him more because he's seen a lot of success. You got to go into the mindset, well, who can get us the first down? Who can move the chains? Who can get us into the end zone? And for me personally, I do expect as the season continues to progress, I think JuJu will begin to find some more targets. I do think the offense will start to feature JuJu because, when games get closer, the weather gets colder, and we roll into December, that toughness and that kind of physicality that JuJu provides, that's the identity that the Steelers will want to be down the stretch. And so I do think, as they begin their playoff run, we'll see JuJu get a little more involved.
And we've seen that uptick start already. 29 targets
Exactly.
in the last 3 weeks. Half of those came against Tennessee with 14 targets in that football game alone. But if it doesn't, it will also tell you what Pittsburgh thinks of their wide receiver room in its entirety. And as you said, week in and week out, the question is going to be who's going to make the plays for us that are going to win us the football game as we look to, in a team that is in win now mentality, take it the distance. And if they trend it towards JuJu Smith-Schuster, that bodes well for whatever his next contract looks like in Pittsburgh or elsewhere. And if they don't, tells you what they think about JuJu Smith-Schuster.
No question.